Well, Jason, look at that. It's time for another transportation talk.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's Friday, of course, over here at Operations in Warrenton, Kathy. It is Popcorn Friday, so that's
Woohoo!
even better. But you know what? Even trumps that though is this show that we're going to be having today. I'm telling you, we get to talk to a staff sergeant, and so we're going to go ahead and really kind of get into the show because it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of fun to see you, Kathy. So I hope everything's good where you're at today.
Yes, most excellent over here. And, we have kind of cut back on doing our live shows um, but we had the opportunity to interview somebody, and that's always best when we can do it live. And
Yeah,
so happy and
absolutely.
excited to have our special guest on today. Jason, you want to introduce us?
Yeah. Hey, today, Kathy, we're going to get a chance to talk to Staff Sergeant Bryan Simpson. He's a wonderful guy. Got to hang out with him at a conference I was recently at, and he is a veteran travel trainer. And he works
Oh,
for Rogue Valley Transportation District in Medford, Oregon. And he's doing a lot of really cool things. And I just really think it's going to be cool to hear what he's doing. Maybe that encourages someone like me because we are a lot alike in a lot of ways. So I'm really excited to introduce Staff Sergeant Bryan Simpson. He's a veteran. Thank you for your service, Bryan. I just want to welcome you to Transportation Talk. Thanks a lot for showing up. How you doing?
Doing great. I'm excited to be on your show. It's great meeting you out there at the conference. Um, this is really exciting because other people to I want my programs to expand. I want veterans across Oregon and the nation to get the transportation that they need and deserve. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Great, great. And Kathy, one last thing
absolutely.
before we really kind of get going in, I wanted to throw out, as Bryan introduced himself there, I neglected, and I told you I was going to do this. I want to give a shout out. We have a very special person in our organization that is retiring. We have our operations manager, Paul Lewicki, is retiring. So, Paul, if you're watching this now or later or in 2 or 3 days from now, just know that we're going to miss you, but we're really happy that you get to go, I'm hoping, on a fulfilling retirement. And thank you for all that you've given to the district. So cool. Hey, Kathy, we could start now.
All right, now that you've gotten that out of the way, but I
Yes,
just also want to say, since you mentioned it,
yes.
yes, we are congratulating one of our very valuable team members on what they've done for Sunset Empire so far, and the direction that they've helped lead us to, and hopefully we will carry on. And yes, wish him very well in his retirement. And on that
Absolutely.
note, yes, let's talk some more with Bryan about how we can make transportation better for veterans in our area and how what he does can translate to what we can do over here.
Yeah.
Uh, Jason, you have some questions for Bryan? You
Yeah.
want to start us off?
Well, I was kind of hoping, Bryan, you could start us off with maybe
Oh,
telling us a
okay.
little bit about yourself and, really how you came to this position over at Rogue Valley Transportation District, and what you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm a Navy veteran. I was in active duty Navy for 7.5 years. Uh, had multiple jobs. One of the last jobs I had was aircraft mechanic. Um, Separated from the Navy, took a 3-year break in service, and joined the Army National Guard here in Oregon. I've
Thank you.
been doing that for over 6 years now,
Nice.
and it's quite different from the Navy, but definitely as fulfilling. Love my job. I am a mortarman, so infantry. I get to blow stuff up for fun. So who doesn't like that, right?
That's exactly right. I don't know. I love my 4th of July, but just keep me away from the M80s. I don't want to be
Right.
opening up ketchup bottles with one hand.
So I was working for Erickson Air Crane. It was a great job, great people there. They ended up downsizing a little bit. Left that job on a good note. Started going to school full time. I used my post 9/11 GI Bill, and one of the classes required me to volunteer for a program in a local program that helps the community. So I volunteered for RVTD's Pedal for Patriots program. Helped out. I was a mechanic, so I worked on some bicycles, fixed them up. We got to give them out to some veterans here locally, and got offered a job doing the assisting with the individualized marketing for the GOVETS program.
Nice.
And yeah, it was a part-time gig, helping out, giving away the GOVETS kits. I actually helped stand it up. They hired me right before the program kicked off. So I got to be a part of standing the program up initially.
Great.
And ever since then, I've been hooked on transportation.
Sweet.
It's awesome. I love how there's so many people that come to transportation through the side door, I like to call it, because I'm very similar in that way. I didn't start out in any sort of education or career path in transportation, but I love it. So you've mentioned GOVETS a couple times, and that's not something that we have in our area that I know of, and I'm curious if you could tell us a little bit more about it and what that program is all about for your area.
Yeah, so a few years ago, RVTD got got a grant to help with veteran transportation. Excuse me. And with that grant, they did it individualized marketing. So it was to help the local veterans not only learn about, but start to use the public transportation. It wasn't focused on taking, which most IM programs are focused on taking folks out of their drive alone cars.
Mm-hmm.
This program was focused on getting veterans to where they had to go, no matter which mode of transportation they took. So here in Southern Oregon, we have the local VA source. It's a medical facility. They
Sure.
focus on mental health and whole health. We get folks in there that are from all over the nation, and they get put in the inpatient program there. So when they come here, a lot of times they don't leave. They like it here in Southern Oregon so much that they move here. Well, they don't know what options are available to them. They don't know what organizations help veterans. And they don't know where our bus system goes. They just know that we have a bus system because we have a stop on the VA on the premises. So this program was designed to get them to request information about any transportation options available to them. So unlike other individualized marketing, this one was an opt-in program. So we gave them a list when they did the intro survey, and we gave them a list of options of transportation options available to them. So they had to select which ones they were interested in. Mm. And then once they selected all that, I would take that information, build a specialized Go kit for them. We call them Go kits. It had whatever they requested, plus a water bottle, some safety lights, reflectors, some headphones.
Yeah, some needed things that a lot of people take for granted, right?
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that those water bottles, ponchos, the lights, these things they couldn't get them. You know, it was hard for them to get them, and they were walking around at night. So it was some things that we thought were beneficial for the local population. Sweet. And then as I mentioned, Jason, the headphones, a lot of people, right, a lot of veterans specifically don't like to ride public transportation because a lot of people ask them questions.
See, this is big, Kathy. This is what really, when you were talking, I was in your class actually that you were teaching up there. This is huge. And so Bryan, please, because I'm actually hard of hearing, so it doesn't bother me. And so I feel like sometimes I'm blessed, but what do these headphones do again?
So the headphones were for the veterans that wanted to ride public transportation, but they get very anxious around a lot of people because these people ask them questions and they don't, as we all know, veterans aren't really the most like talkative, right? We'll talk to other veterans. It's very easy to connect to other veterans, but we don't really connect with the the civilian population as much. They haven't gone through what we've been through.
Sure.
And so the headphones, I would tell the veterans, put the headphones in when you sit on the bus, and then people think you're listening to music, so they leave you alone. You don't even have to have your music on. And it's a way for them to be a little more comfortable on the bus because they know what's going on. They're not completely shut out, and people are kind of leaving them alone. They're giving them their space. So I heard a
What a
lot of
great
good
tool.
feedback. Yeah, I heard a lot of good feedback from folks that never really rode public transportation because they were anxious about it.
Sure.
And after I told them that, we did a lot of events and stuff, and they said that was the best trick that they'd gotten from anybody to ride the bus.
You know, that specific thing, you know, it does carry over. I will be honest with you. I mean, obviously, specifically for how it helps a veteran, that's easily understood, but it does carry over into the civilian population. There are plenty of people that I have travel trained in the past that don't ride the bus because it's just too busy, just too much stuff going on, like this and everything. And so that's a great idea. It just gives that person who might be a little sensitive, you know, that sensory, you know, sensitivity might be just a little much to get them going, you know, on the bus. And so something I'm definitely considering for the future on that. But Bryan, I wanted to kind of move forward on this, and I you know, I mean, I can obviously tell, Kathy, I don't know if you can tell, but I can tell that, you know, Bryan, it seems like you've got just a lot of passion to help your local veterans and to see that grow out to even beyond what you're doing down there in Southern Oregon. But so, I mean, really, why were you inspired, you know, to do this? I don't know if you've answered this yet, you know, a little bit, but really, why did you want to give back to your local veterans in this way? I know it was a job, but sometimes things become more than just jobs. So, I mean, what really kind of drives you?
So, yeah, it definitely started out as a job. I was a student that didn't have a job. So to get one was, you know, I had to pay my bills just like everybody else. Well, when I started handing these kits out to folks, the Go kits that they requested, and I got to meet the local populace of veterans that were, a lot of them were underserved. They were ignored. They were forgotten about.
Definitely.
And to see them get a monthly bus pass, you know, the 30-day bus pass of unlimited rides, some lights and a water bottle, it changed their whole life. You can see the look in their face of when they get that one thing that helps them get to their doctor's appointment.
Sure.
Or get to the pharmacy to get their medication. Or even to get to downtown to go get a snack, you know, go have lunch with some friends.
The things that we take for granted every day, it seems
like. All of us take it for granted. I take it for granted all the time, realizing I can just drive my truck down there. Well, some of these guys guys and gals don't have a truck. They don't have a bike. They don't have any mode of transportation. They have their feet. And a lot of them are older, and it's harder for them to get around. So finding a way to help them learn about the bus system and learn what other options are available to them here in Southern Oregon, the bike program, the bike paths, the bus, Valley Lift, you know, all of these options that doing this program, these folks had no idea were available to them. They didn't know that RVTD offers a reduced fare for anybody any veteran that's service connected. So any service connection, you get a reduced fare. So instead of $2 a ride, it's $1 a ride. We have I touched on it a little bit, and I might go into some of the questions here.
That's
but
fine.
The Pedals for Patriots program.
Yes.
You know, where they can get a bicycle.
Yep.
It of no cost. It costs them nothing.
So Kathy, I wanted to talk a little bit now, Bryan, okay, you're going right into that next subject. and so Kathy, do you agree with me? Because we've been doing this show quite a bit, right? And we've run across questions before where people are, you know, kind of the missing link, right? There's something simple in many cases. I don't want to say all cases, but many cases, there's something just simple enough that's just missing in their what we would call their transportation portfolio. I think portfolio, right? So, I mean, what do you think about this before Bryan really gets into it, about the bicycle program and what he's going to hopefully end up saying here in a little bit? What do you think about it?
Well, first of all, if it involves bicycles and helping people get to where they're going, then I think it's a good thing. So I'm excited to hear what this bicycle program is all about that you've referred to a couple times, and I'm hoping you can tell us about it, and hopefully we can also learn how these programs aren't uniquely made for the Rogue Valley, how they can be adapted to other places as well. So,
Sure.
tossing that ball back to you, Bryan. What is this bicycle program you speak of? I'd like to learn some more.
Yeah, so RVTD started the Pedals for Patriots program right before I got hired on. And what the program is we take bicycles that are donated to us. Most of the bicycles we get are donated initially was by the police departments.
Mm-hmm.
So the local police departments would take abandoned bikes and store them, make sure they weren't stolen, and they'd keep them for however long that they needed to keep them. We contacted them and said, hey, we're looking at doing this bicycle program to give bikes to vets. Would you be willing to give us any of the bikes that you have that were abandoned? And they said, yes, we have trailers full of them. Please take them. So we'd take all of the bikes and we'd piece them together, as many as we could out of however many they gave us. We'd piece those bicycles together and fix them up, make sure they were safe to go, and then we'd give them to veterans that had no mode of transportation. They were, a lot of them are low income, living in assisted living places, or even like Columbia Care, living at the VA, that kind of thing. And we'd give them to them for free. And every time I tell them they get a bike for free, they look at me like I'm crazy.
Did you wear your Santa Claus hat and your
Yeah.
red furry coat?
I need to start doing that for Christmas time. It's the Santa Claus hat.
Hey, Bryan, can you elaborate a little bit more on the piecing together you were talking about? I know enough about bicycles to know that piecing together, it sounds awkward to me. What does that mean?
So a lot of bikes are very similar. They look different. They're different colors, but the wheels are all the same, most the same size.
True.
The seats are all similar. Brakes are, there's only 3 different kinds of brakes.
Right.
So we'd take these bikes and we'd see one that had no brakes on it. Well, this one next to it was missing its wheels. It was pretty much a frame with a set of brakes on it. So we'd take the brake parts off, put it on this one, fully adjust it, air up the tires, put new tubes in it, and it was ready to go.
Nice.
So we'd find the pieces off of certain bikes that, were pretty much generalized for all different bikes. And we'd save those, put them in a box, and scrap the rest of it. And what I mean by scrap is we'd take those frames that we couldn't find. They were specialized frames, things that we couldn't find general parts for. And we take it to the scrapyard, and we take that money from scrapping those bikes, and we put it back into the program by buying tubes, tires, grips, brake cables, shifter cables, that kind of thing. That way we weren't spending a lot of money on the program, and the program was starting to self-sustain.
That's awesome.
So,
and that's a
Bryan,
very important part.
Hey, I have a question. So I'm a big DIY person. I love fixing and doing things on my own, but I don't know about bikes.
Okay.
And so if we were going to do, like, if some place was going to do a program like this, how do you make sure that the person that is going over the bikes and piecing them together like you're talking about knows what they're doing, and that bike that you're handing out is safe?
That's a good question. So we have a couple local bike shops here that we've partnered with, in the sense of, if people bring bicycles into them and they're a little far past what they're able to do, or what they're able to spend on it, they refer them to us. And sometimes those bike shops have mechanics that are retired and they just want something to do. They want to, volunteer.
Sure.
And so we give them an opportunity to volunteer with us. So we do, a bike workshop once a week, and we get a couple of our bike programs. Like we have Siskiyou Velo down here, and they do like long distance biking, maintaining bike trails down here in Southern Oregon on the Greenway. And so we say, hey, we want to do these bike programs, these bike maintenance programs, and teach people how to work on bikes and fix up the bikes that we have had donated to us. And they're like, heck yeah. And they're so motivated about it, and they're passionate about it because they retired as a bike mechanic. So to get them out and teaching people to see these guys work is incredible. They're just so happy and passionate about it because the people that are there want to learn.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
So
It's
hey,
a great
listen,
partnership.
it is. It sounds like there was a well thought out plan, and you guys are in the middle of executing that plan and continuing to grow that plan. But everything that we do, and actually, I think all three of us, I mean, our main goal is to ultimately get people from point A to point B. In some cases, it's what options are we using to get them from point A to point B? So like we got the bicycle program, van sharing, and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately it just comes right down to ensuring that, the veterans that we help, we're getting them from point A to point B. And how successful are we at doing that? And so, Bryan, I was kind of wondering, so when you look back on things, in the GOVETS program, the Pedals for Patriots program, and all the other things, especially like the Go kits that you described on how you started, and then you just enjoyed handing those out. How do you look back on your program? And this will help me because it helped me understand how maybe I need to look back on my program. But how do you look back on your program and determine something's working or something's not working and you need to improve, or you need to do more of a good thing? So what do you do? How do you look back on those things?
Well, when we initially started doing GoVets, the individualized marketing was only for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So that program was only slotted to be funded for a year. And so on the initial survey, we took in all the information we could. And when we did the events, because we did 3 events, one of them was a bike event. We biked down the Greenway as a group of veterans.
Yep.
One was a baseball game. So I took veterans to the local minor league baseball game. And when we did that one specifically, it keyed me into starting to ask them what they wanted, what was benefiting them, what did they need. And then the last event that we did was a barbecue. So we went out to our park out here, and we set up. We had hot dogs and hamburgers, just some basic stuff, but we had all of our program partners, which was a key to the program.
Sure.
We bring in our program partners and we let them have a table. And that way, all these veterans that knew of our program, some of them through the partners, they got to see these other program partners and see what they were all about. Easter Seals, Rogue Valley Veterans Community Outreach, Columbia Care, and see what those programs offered. So
that's great.
At those events, I started asking veterans to fill out a form of what went well for you, what was good, and what needed improvement, and how could we improve it. And that was the priceless information, because if you got to get the information from the people you're serving, right?
So it's not so much stats, right? It's not a number, really. You're saying that you're speaking directly to them and asking them, how are you doing in this program and what can we do better, correct?
Yes.
Wow.
And connecting those veterans with the other organizations learning what they needed. Because I do transportation. My goal,
Yeah.
like your guys' goal, is to get them where they need to go, where they
Absolutely.
want to go. And so learning what they need, being a veteran myself, I know what veteran organizations are out there and what each one of them do for the most part.
Sure.
So when a veteran calls me or when they hear about my program, I get to have a little conversation with them and figure out, oh, this veteran needs help with getting a job. Oh, well, here, contact so-and-so at Easter Seals because
Right.
that's what they specialize in. So
That's great,
I have a
Bryan.
little more of than just transportation. I get to connect them with the services they need, and I get to get them to those services.
So I think you've almost just answered this question, but you know, we're getting close to the end of our show,
Moves
unbelievably.
too fast.
I just am wondering, you know, this is kind of a wrap-up question as far as your
Sure.
program is concerned. Um, what's the biggest thing that you've learned and the most important thing for your community that you have changed about your program in this process that you know, as it's been growing and developing?
Can't say that I've changed a lot, because we did a lot of research when this program started.
Mm-hmm.
When we did the research, we reached out to a lot of the veteran organizations, starting with the local VA and the caseworkers. And I would say that the biggest learning curve for most folks that have tried to start a veterans program is building the trust with the veteran. um, RVTD was lucky in the sense that we got to hire a veteran to do the veterans travel training, right?
Right. Yep.
So those veterans open up to me. They're more willing to talk to me when they find out that I'm a veteran myself.
Mm-hmm.
Working with the program partners, the organizations that already serve the veterans, is key to a successful program.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Indeed.
that can be spread about for any hard to serve group that you're trying to reach. In my case, it's veterans. So I go to the veteran organizations. They've already built rapport with these veterans, the caseworkers, the program managers at those organizations. They already have a rapport with the local population. So they can get me and get my program out there for me. So you don't have to hire a veteran to do the work if you want to serve veterans. You have to build the relationship with the organizations that already have that relationship with the veterans.
Indeed.
And that's what a lot of people have a hard time with.
You know, and that is a challenge for me as I run, you know, our veterans enhanced transportation program over here. But over the years, you're exactly right. You know, I mean, it's developing those relationships, that level of trust. And it goes a big way that all the volunteer drivers that I have utilized in this program, you know, they're all veterans. And so typically anytime I go to meet a veteran or go to a veteran sponsored program or whatever, some outreach event, I bring them along and they're there with me. And that really does help. But Bryan, you know, we, like Kathy said, we're getting really close to our show ending here. And Kathy and I can attest that when we do this live show and we have such a good guest on, I mean, the time just goes by, right, Kathy? Like, you can't believe it. It's just almost
Blink of an eye.
just a blink of an eye. I can't believe how fast it goes by. So I just wanted to kind of just give you, you know, you have said a lot, you've gone through a lot of things for us and so forth, but I really just wanted to go ahead and give you just kind of this last minute or two to be able to just kind of push your program, just freestyle whatever you want people to know out there about the GOVETS program. It's important. The floor is yours, and then Kathy and I will go ahead and finish up.
Yeah, I want people to be encouraged to start a bike program. Bike programs are, especially the one that we've started here at RVTD, is very simple, low overhead cost, and people want to volunteer. Helping out the veterans in this area has been so rewarding for me, that and so successful, as you saw in the program, because
Indeed.
I'm passionate about it.
Right.
I want to help veterans get to where they need to go. So ODOT has started the GOVETS Get There. And in that, it's a ride board for veterans to get veterans across the state of Oregon. And it connects them to carpooling with each other. This is especially helpful in rural areas, as
And
you
it's
know.
available right here also. So we have that available on the Get There Oregon website.
And this is in a veteran specific ride board.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Oregon wide.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody has any questions about it, wants me to talk about it, please contact me. I work for RVTD. You can get on our website, rvtd.org. You can look into the bike program. You can look into the GOVETS options that we have available here, the bus pass program, the reduced fare program. I have a bike loan program that I didn't really touch on. Time ran out really fast.
No doubt.
We'll have you on again, Bryan.
Yeah.
We'll do another one.
And I want to thank both of you for having me on your show. It's been a privilege. And Kathy, it was the first time I got to meet you. I look forward to meeting you in person and helping you guys out with whatever I can on the veteran side. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. You've been a fantastic guest. And I just want to say, again, if people want to reach Bryan, you'll find his contact information right down in the comments after the show goes live. And so anytime after that, you can still look in the comments. So it's not if you're not live with us that you miss it, blink and miss it. It'll be there.
That's right.
Reach out to Bryan if you have any questions. If you have questions about the Get There Oregon website, contact us. I can help you with that too. So you don't have to go all the way down to Rogue Valley to find out about the Get There website, but you now have two sources of information and two ways of getting that information. If you feel more comfortable with asking Bryan questions, then that is what he's there for, and he will answer those questions. And if you want something as far as local information, well, then Jason and I are right here for you and happy to answer any questions.
Absolutely. So Bryan, don't go anywhere. Kathy, it is the end of the show. Transportation Talk, again, just goes by so fast. Bryan, you've been an excellent guest. We are so thankful that you're on, and we hope everyone listens to you. We hope that those who aren't veterans, but maybe just families of veterans, also recognize that they can call you as well too, because sometimes a veteran doesn't want to reach out, right? And sometimes it's the family that does. So reach out to people like Bryan, reach out to people like me as well, who run a transportation program for veterans. We're here to help you. Kathy, it's been a pleasure yet again. Bryan, awesome. We look forward to having you back on the show. It's Transportation Talk on Friday. We're thankful to everybody for tuning in today. Take care.
Yes. And on this Memorial Day weekend, we want to thank all of those families for their sacrifices and for their service.
Yes.
We are a grateful nation. Thank
you very much.
Everybody have a great week.